Our approach this new season is Sauron and more Sauron. So I think Mount Doom looks better than it did in the first season. So there's that.
An evil, ancient and powerful.
Okay, fair enough. We've established already that Charlie Vickers is playing Sauron. So ancient, evil, powerful, still in the picture. Focus on Sauron. Okay.
Has returned.
Okay, to be honest, right there, that scene seems to really foreshadow the Balrog. That's what that looks like there. And I assume just by what they're doing in the trailer that what they're trying to bring about is that it's due to the dwarves that potentially there's a Balrog that has been awakened.
Prepare yourselves.
They stole a little bit from the MCU and Disney because that is kind of reminiscent of the Avengers. So looks like they're going to be like maybe twice as much action. So that particular scene was very much like the MCU. And to be quite honest, a lot of the stuff, the way they laid it out in the trailer, was very reminiscent of a lot of superhero movies, if I'm going to be real. So the first thing that I think about is I think about those three women at the end who were summoning the stranger. So when I see the hands filled with blood, I think about the woman that many people were calling Eminem, the blonde woman. I think about one of those women or that kind of type. So they're summoning an entity. Their hands are filled with blood. So that's the first thing that sort of like comes to mind, foreshadowing. And they're in some kind of temple. And this looks like potentially like a new concept. And this is really just off the top of my head, having seen the scene.
He worms his way inside your mind.
Yes, he does, especially if you have a ring.
The crest of him slithers in.
I have no problem with the snake imagery. In fact, like the snake imagery in this context is like sort of like a double entendre because like to me it harkens back to maybe like Eden and the snake. That's my first thought.
I think he has been here.
So yes, we have more Vif returning, of course, as Galadriel. I don't know, like Celebrimbor, I'm not totally a fan of the presentation of this character still, but the idea of having Annatar, I don't really have any opposition towards that. And just to follow up on the last point, of course, this whole kind of like golden light thing, we're to assume that Annatar is making an entrance.
I think he's been here among us all along.
I believe that, but how are you going to explain that that actually occurred? How is that going to happen? Is it going to be more like kind of compression? How are you going to explain? And why is it that Annatar looks the same as Sauron? Now, to be honest, I had arguments with people about, well, the quote-unquote elves are stupid and they would fall for this. The idea that a shapeshifter didn't really change shape doesn't make sense. So that part there, a shapeshifter should change shape. So they made sure to have Morviv Clark writing and not smiling because like she was memed to death. So I get that part. I understand why they didn't have a clip of her smiling because she was memed to death.
Every soul.
So I'm just wondering if the animal in the ocean, in the deep, is Uin or Win. I'm just wondering if that's the whale-like creature that's described in the Legendarium. Just curious.
Middle Earth is in peril.
So I'm assuming that that bridge was destroyed by either orcs or the Balrog, and I'm leaning towards orcs. So the first season was really, really dark, and my assumption is that this one is going to be twice as dark. That's my assumption. Even this scene is an Avenger-like scene with their hands out. I think of like Fantastic Four. I think about Avengers. It's very MCU. Okay, and then the dwarves get their ring, of course. So the scene with Isildur and Arondir is great. And the number one reason it's great is, of course, Isildur must be alive. So that is good that they just clear that up right away. So, of course, the importance of Ad Farazon, or Farazon as he's called in the Rings of Power, is, of course, he is the last king of Numenor and presides over the downfall of his race. I'm not a fan of the new Adar. Not interested. Not a fan. And especially I'm not really a fan because, like, I understand, I guess, that Adar has a certain look, but the way they have him, the way they did with the makeup, they made him seem, they made his face look almost exactly like the actor who left, and I think that's an L. That's a loss. So, yeah, once again, there's a lot of like superheroes kind of stuff, or just the dynamic, and I'm really just talking about how they shot. So it's really it makes me think about Green Arrow, Avengers. Yeah. And so, of course, it looks like they have, of course, Elrond in full battle gear. So there's a lot of war scenes. There'll be a lot of fighting. So probably there'll be like continuous fighting through all the different episodes.
He's Sauron.
So I don't have a problem making the same point again. Sauron's a shapeshifter. Just having him have like a blonde wig played by the same actor, especially when originally, like, the rumor had been that I think Ravi Singh Chera was going to play one aspect of Sauron. And then there was even the idea that there might be 3 actors playing Sauron. So if he's a shapeshifter, why would he appear to us, the audience, as Charlie Vickers? Does that really make sense? A real question I'm asking. So I really don't have problems with this particular scene, or like the idea that Sauron wields much magic power. No problem with that intrinsically. And then, of course, that's a shot of Barad-dûr, which I think it looks decent from the outside. So that's it for this video. If you want, give us a like, subscribe. You can also click some of the links if you want. You can click the Cash App. Every little bit helps. And with that, I'm out. Have a great one.